Hello and welcome back to episode number 2 of Scottish Football Matters podcast. How was your weekend, mate? How did you enjoy the football?
Mixed bag, but yeah, I had quite a busy weekend aside from football, but it's certainly good to get the proper action started again.
Definitely. The what was the first game again at the weekend? The very first
Uh,
one on
First one,
Saturday was
was Kilmarnock Livingston.
Minute
Uh,
Livy. Aye. What did you
yeah,
what did you make of that game?
yeah, I thought Kilmarnock obviously started very well. Got the two goals. Actually, scored my goal of the weekend by Daniels. Thought it was a lovely through ball, great finish. But as usual, linesman flagged it for offside, even though it was about 2 yards onside. and then later in the game, another howler for the Livingston penalty and red card. I mean, how they can't spot these decisions on field. I just think this is down to. I mean, I went to one of the friendlies and I just don't. I think they're not wanting to make decisions. They're just relying on the technology, and it's terrible. You need to go with instinct, and
That I
if
mean
that
I know
referee's instinct is to do
no
nothing when someone gets pulled back in the box, clear, clearest penalty you'll get. But I just think
they went too
uh,
far with it, didn't they?
they did go to VAR and finally got the right decision on both occasions. But that game can completely different if we're leaving it to the on-field refs.
Mhm.
But in
But that,
general, I thought Livingston did well to
the red card changed
obviously.
the game,
Of
if I'm
course
being
it did,
honest.
but
Aye.
you need to take advantage of it. And how many times have
Oh,
we seen teams,
of course.
even though 2-0 down or whatever, 2-1 with a penalty, but they can't really break them down. But fair play to Livingston. I felt they would play some good stuff, and I think they did.
Mhm.
What did you think of that game?
I thought it was good, but as I said, I thought the game changed with the red card because I thought if the red card didn't happen, then I think Kelly would have won the game comfortably. I seem to think
I
that.
agree. I probably agree, but as I said, my main talking point for that game was just again just poor officiating, and I
It's
really
the tin
hope that.
pot. It's the kind of tin pot VAR that we've got in
But
this league.
the VAR did work. It's the officiating that was the problem on that day. The fact that they're not picking up and they're not making decisions. I think they're just too scared to. But yeah, they got to the right decisions eventually, I suppose.
I suppose 2-2. Well, I said that Kelly obviously would have won the game, but you think 2-2 is a fair result in the end?
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously it's a change with the red card, but Livingston took advantage and fully merited a point.
Yeah, fair dues.
Yep.
Was there anything else for that game that you were wanting to discuss, or is that pretty much it
No,
for that
well,
one?
as I said, my main talking points were great first goal by Daniels and
Mm.
just
That's
the
your goal of
fact
the
that
weekend, obviously.
I just feel the fact that the referees aren't really making on field decisions. But I can't complain about the outcome anyway.
Right. Well, let's move on to the next game, which was Motherwell
Motherwell Rangers.
1, Rangers 1. So,
Uh,
what's your take on that one? I'm sure you watched it, did you?
yeah, yeah. Honestly, uh, even though Motherwell scored late on to deny Rangers 3 points, it would have been an absolute robbery if Rangers had won that game. And
I agree. I think
to be
Motherwell were
honest,
the better team in the second half anyway.
I think it's a point gained based on that performance.
Yep.
I thought it was. I thought the first half was actually okay from a Rangers point of view, and actually quite poor from a Motherwell point of view. But they just grew into the game, and to be totally honest, I can't remember Rangers really making the keeper make. Didn't work the keeper, didn't create
Me as
enough,
well. I don't
didn't
remember the keeper
didn't
making
do enough. But
a save,
I
really.
mean, the only keeper that was working was Jack Butland.
Mm.
But do you know what? Opening day of the season, it's never easy. There's no excuses about Rangers playing Panathinaikos in the heat. I don't buy that. It's too early in the season for to say, oh, they were leggy. No, not an excuse. And well, you heard from the Rangers manager after the game, he was far from happy. And
Well, I was just about to ask you that. What do you make of the manager's comments after the game?
I thought it was quite refreshing, even if
You don't
a
think
wee
it was a
bit,
bit? You don't think it was a bit too much after one game to come out and do that and throw his players completely under the bus like that right away?
not at all. But I also think he needs to hold his own hands up and say that that formation and that style, while it might work over time, it isn't working right now. Playing a right back at left back, playing Kieran Dowell, pretending to be a footballer, isn't working.
Apparently, he's playing midfielders on the wrong side as well, like a left
Yeah,
foot on the right side and a
he's
right foot on the
totally
left side.
changed Raskin and Diomandis. I mean, at the end of last season, Nico Raskin was being the complete midfielder under Ferguson. He wasn't just a six; he was bursting forward. But now he's spending most of his time trying to cover inverted fullbacks that don't know what they're doing.
Mm.
But I'm not going to put the knife in anything like that because it's early days, and as we've seen, all it takes is a couple of results. But from what I'm seeing so far is same old for Rangers. They know how to turn up when there's a European
The
night,
big games, the
and
big
they
games.
don't know how to turn up when they need to put in a bit of graft. But I thought it was refreshing to hear a manager actually come out and say that. But I would find it more refreshing if he came out and said, yeah, not acceptable not to
I'm partly
run,
to blame
but
as
it's
well, basically.
also not acceptable that I think Rangers have. This is actually a galling stat. Rangers have faced 52 shots in 3 games.
All right,
So that for
didn't know
me
that.
tells you that something isn't working. I
Mm.
mean, and with all due respect, that's Panathinaikos, and Motherwell. All due respect to Panathinaikos and Motherwell, I don't think they'll be your toughest test of the season. Now, if you told
No,
me that Rangers made the Champions League and we were playing Liverpool, Celtic, and then PSG, I could completely understand 52 shots in 3 games, but not against Motherwell and Panathinaikos.
no.
And
What I
also
would
on the
say
other
is if
side,
Panathinaikos had better, you say their shooting boots, if they'd had their shooting boots on that day, they probably should have beat Rangers. And Motherwell's the same. If Motherwell had
well,
decent
exactly.
strikers, they probably would have won the game.
Not even so much that. I mean, sometimes you can say the keeper did well, and I think Butland did do well, but you could tell a lot of it was maybe early season rust as well.
What I
But that
also
went
thought
both ways.
was Danilo looked as if he was blowing out his backside, and he doesn't look fit.
He's trying though.
He looks finished.
The only way you get match fit is to play matches.
I know,
Um,
but
so
he just looked tired.
I think his biggest problem is he just doesn't do the basics very well. The sort of holding up the ball, bringing people into the game. Because on the other side of things, Rangers have been scoring like their only chances they've been getting. I mean, if you look at again all 3 games, I don't want to veer away too far from the Motherwell game, but we scored our one set piece chance. In Panathinaikos, we scored our only real chance apart from the Dessers at the end, and we scored 2 in the home game out of maybe 4 chances. So what it's not at that end of the pitch. The problem is it's creating. The taking the chances is fine. So there's no creativity, but I think I'm veering away too much because I actually think Motherwell deserve a lot of credit because they've got a new manager
Mm-hmm.
and their players
I thought
bought
they did
into what
well.
he was saying. They,
I thought
I
Motherwell
think there
did
was
well.
about 3 or 4 times that they passed the ball out from the back, and within 3 passes, they were about 20 yards for the Rangers goal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that, from a Rangers point of view, is unacceptable and terrible, but from a Motherwell point of view, it's great. They're listening to
But
their manager.
that's the
They're
style
coming
of
out
football
and
that
saying,
Russell Martin's going to play. He's going to play this style of football that's going to leave his open at the back sometimes.
but you know what's will happen. You know Rangers will probably turn around and smash Dundee next week, or they'll grind out a result in Europe, and people will go, "Oh, they're brilliant," and it's not the case. They've got
Right.
a lot of work to do.
Oh.
But on to the Sunday games, shall we?
Right.
I'll let you start with this one. Did you
Right.
see much of the Falkirk Dundee United one?
I seen a wee snippet in the pub on Sunday before I went to the Celtic game. I mean, I thought Dundee United looked all right. I thought Falkirk did well to come back into the game.
Yeah, I thought the draw
Twice,
was fair.
twice,
And
obviously. Yeah, I think a draw was a fair result in the end because the two of them were kind of muchness for each other.
yeah,
Um,
but I thought there was really good football on show. I'd say out
mhm.
of all of the games this weekend, actually, I think that was the game where I seen the best football from both sides.
Yep.
I don't mean that it was the best football overall, but I think in terms of a football match, it was
Mhm.
a good game. That's a
Yep.
really decent game to watch. And I thought again, you got to praise Falkirk for their battling spirit to come back not just once but twice.
Definitely.
Yep.
Especially being just promoted into the league as well. I mean, I thought when they went 1-0 down, I thought, oh, here we go. They might
I do
fold,
worry about them away from home, so I'm going to reserve judgment on that one because I think home games, I think you'll see this. But I think away games you might see them struggle because they are quite an open team, and I think you might find that on the road you might get a wee bit. It might be a bit tougher.
Yeah,
But great
that's
start
a
for
fair
them,
assessment.
and
That's a
great
fair
start for
assessment.
most teams really, because you want to get a point on the board, and I think 8 out of the 10 teams did get
Hmm.
a point on the board. So that's always a good start, I think, just to not lose your first game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
I'll let you take this one on to the. Well, what do you see about the Hibs game against Dundee? Did you see much of that? 'Cause I know you would have been at the Celtic game at this point,
I
but
caught the highlights. I caught the
yeah,
highlights of it, and the boy that scored the two goals, I was quite impressed with him. Is it Bowie? His name is.
very a proper striker finishes,
Uh,
wasn't
he
he? Like
looks, he looks, he looks a good striker, by the way. Aye.
especially the
Aye.
second one, I thought because it was quite a poor finish and the keeper made a wee bit of a hash it, but he was on it straight away just to
Yep.
put in the rebound. And I think he scored last day of the season against Rangers, and he caught the eye. And I think he made the Scotland squad at the end of last season, but he didn't really
Oh,
get
so
much
he's not
of a
actually
chance.
a new signing. I thought he was just a new.
No,
I thought he was. I didn't realise he was there last year.
yeah, it was, and he made the Scotland squad at the end of last season, but Steve Clark didn't really use him much.
He doesn't really.
uh,
He doesn't really use anybody that's kind of half decent, does he?
no, he uses
Or showing
midfielders
any,
everywhere.
showing any promise.
But
Uh,
yeah, I thought, and then credit to Dundee, they stayed in the game even though they didn't do much, but they passed the ball about quite well. But I do
aye, but
worry
they
about
didn't. They didn't
the,
get started at all in the game.
it's not easy when you go 2-0 down, but even when they got back into the game, they didn't. They just they didn't ever look like getting a point,
Do you think they'll
and
struggle this season? Aye,
I really do. And I think considering Hibs had went like 120 minutes like 3 days ago before the
that's right.
game, you'd
Hmm.
have thought that it would have been Dundee really pushing a tired Hibs, but Hibs sort of kept them at arm's length.
Yeah.
So, but credit to Hibs, and obviously at that point they were the only team to pick up 3 points
Hmm.
until your game.
Well, aye,
I'll
that
give
was
my quick analysis because you'll have a longer one having been at
that
the
was a
game.
late. It
But
was a late one, obviously, on Sunday, wasn't it? It was a late
what
one.
I thought was, firstly, absolute credit to St Mirren for their defensive shape. I thought they were excellent defensively. They didn't offer anything in the top end, but when you go to Celtic Park or Ibrox, sometimes it's about staying in the game, and I felt they did that really, really well. From a Celtic point of view, I'll be brutally honest. I thought they were good, but no more than good. I think quite wasteful in front of goal, especially Adam Eder. I'm sure I call him Adam Dessers the more I see him. Um, he just he's one of those strikers that he's good on instinct, but when he's got time to think, he's just not. But I thought there was a lot of good play from Celtic. I mean, I think they hit the frame of the goal 3 or 4 times, but I never felt that they were. I never felt they came out of second or third gear, if I'm totally
No.
honest. But I never felt they were in control of the game as much as they should be. I always felt like there was a chance to counter for St Mirren, but they weren't. They weren't very good at it, or they didn't
Mm.
quite have the players to do it. But if I was a Celtic fan, I'd be a wee bit worried about. There was a lot of passing for passing's sake. I felt, and I actually thought Scales had a really good game. I know he gets a lot of criticism, but I thought
Thought
he
it
had
was
a
all
good
right.
game. And even when he went to left back, he wasn't terrible. Uh, and I think my issues with what I said about Tierney at the start was that I was always worried that he was going to pick up injuries, and I don't think it's a long term one or anything like that. I think it is just
It was
a wee
cramp.
bit,
It was just cramp.
but
It was
but
cramp.
it
So,
does worry me as if I was a
of
Celtic
course,
fan.
and he
But
didn't have Anamura on the bench, and that was my concern, obviously,
yeah, and I
last
don't
night.
think against or even let's just be totally honest. If that happens next Sunday away to Aberdeen, I think you'd be under a lot more pressure in that game if it was still 0-0 and Tierney's went off.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? I think you'd be a wee bit like, oh, wait a minute. Whereas that was a home game, so maybe it was you got away with it a wee bit more. But I felt there was moments that Celtic were really good, but there probably just wasn't enough
Yeah.
from a Celtic point of view. But
Hmm.
credit to McCowan for coming on, taking the goal really well, and I know you'll probably go into more in depth about the McGregor disallowed goal, but it's one of those ones that the rules are terrible. That it doesn't matter if it's an accident, which it was, but the fact that
100%.
if it hits his arm in the bottom half and then he goes on to score, it gets disallowed. That's just the rules, right or wrong. I watched there was Rangers one last year against Aberdeen. Kevin Nisbet did the exact same thing. It comes off the lower part of his arm and then he bangs it into the net. And
I
what
can't
they're
remember.
saying
Did the
is,
goal count?
nope, nope, they
Or
got
did that get
disallowed the
chopped off as
exact
well? Oh,
same.
fair enough then. At
Because
least they're
what they're saying
consistent.
is that if that control of the arm, accidental or not, put that ball in a place that he was then able to strike it into the net. Now that
Mhm.
might be utter guff, right? But it's the rule, as in that if the player who scores touches the ball with a hand or arm, I should say bottom half of the arm, and it leads to him scoring, then it gets chopped off. And by the letter of the law, it was the correct decision. I don't like the law, but it was yeah. That's all I'd say about that. But again, credit to Celtic for grinding it out as they usually do, and credit to St Mirren for going there with a defensive plan. And I felt they did quite well, and I'd be interested to see how they do when they attack in games.
Yeah. Well,
Well, obviously when they don't play at Parkhead or Ibrox.
what worries me, what worried me about the game yesterday watching it was that I know Celtic played well in spells, but if they play like that, as you said, against Aberdeen next week, then it's going to be a lot tougher and we'll not get away with it. See, against teams that are actually better than I'm
Well,
not
teams that
disrespecting St
maybe
Mirren, but
can counter a bit better.
of course, I'm not disrespecting St Mirren or anything like that because they did play well and they're a good. He's got them well drilled, but
Yeah.
against a a better class of opposition, Celtic won't get away with that in terms of the. I mean, Adamida for me. I'd have brought on. I know he brought on Johnny Kenny, which I wasn't too happy about. I'd have brought on the boy Shin Yamada to see
I
what
was
he could
surprised at
do.
that one. Yeah, I
Because
was
I thought he'd
surprised
have
with
brought
the
Shin
Kenny
on.
before. I could only put that down to maybe just fitness and knowing his teammates a bit more.
Possibility, but I was looking forward to hopefully seeing the new signing, and I didn't get to see him. But hey ho,
I thought
um,
Negron looked okay.
he was unlucky not to score when he hit the bar. The ball came
I
off the
still
bar.
think he's I still think he's a right winger who's playing centre mid, but
Mhm.
that doesn't really make much sense to me because Yang didn't do a lot, and you have Bernardo and Engels on the bench, and I just think, well,
I still think
play one of
Bernardo
them.
should be getting Mary a chance as well. I like
I think
Bernardo,
he'd
but
come on, did he?
I thought the game turned in our favour. I'd say when James Forrest was brought on, he was
I
excellent.
thought he made a good impact.
Aye,
He did a lot more than Yang. Um,
well, that wouldn't be hard.
no, but I think I think Celtic are quite a difficult team to be. See, if you're not a confident winger, and I think Yang isn't playing with confidence, I think it's a difficult team in Celtic because you always play with that overlapping fullback, and it gives him the chance to take the easy option and just pass to Johnson every time. So he
Yeah,
gets away with not doing anything wrong, but not doing anything. If you
don't
get what I
think he
mean?
does
Whereas,
get confidence either.
no,
I
but
don't think he's clearly
strikers
not
don't
got it.
until they start scoring. But then you look at he scores big goals against Rangers and two against Aston Villa. But then I just think when he has time to think, he's
Aye.
just very like Dessers, as I said,
And
just
then
not
obviously
watching
Luke
him.
Mc, Luke McCowan's really reliable. I mean, I think Luke McCowan's a great wee player. And the only other person could see doing what he done to score that goal would have been James Forrest. Because James Forrest hit shots from outside the box like that. Maybe Callum McGregor, which
Yeah,
McGregor did do, obviously, when he scored his goal. Um,
yeah. I
the
feel
goal
like
that he got,
Engels
I'm agreeing with you.
overpasses in those positions. Like he tries to find this,
Engels,
like he tries to find this pass that isn't always there. Whereas sometimes you just hit a shot and it takes a deflection and it
mhm,
goes in. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not sure it goes in without the deflection, but who cares? If you hit a
the,
shot and it's going on target, it doesn't
the
matter, does
McGregor
it?
one, the McGregor
Is
goal,
it? Aye,
for me, I mean, I'm agreeing with you in terms of if it's the rules, it's the rules.
yeah.
But I'm agreeing with you in terms of it's a stupid rule because, I mean, but
It should be
I've obviously
deliberate.
watched it
Aye,
and see if he's actually the ball ricochets off him.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And he can't
Complete
move.
accident.
So what's he meant to do?
Nothing, but you just don't get everything's just back in the
The
day
attacker
like,
in
when
that
we were young,
situation should get the benefit of the doubt.
but it was always about deliberate handball, and that just
That wasn't deliberate though.
doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. It just
Huh?
doesn't matter anymore. It's just
Oh,
everything's just if it hits a hand. Oh,
I mean,
Hearts have just scored.
couple of years ago, have they? A
Yep,
couple of
it's
years
an
ago, was
own
it
goal.
Shankland?
No,
Oh,
it's
was it
an
not
own goal
G?
by Shinnie. I
Right,
bet you everyone in
right.
Scotland will enjoy that.
Well, uh, but
Um,
I've lost my train of thought now. What were we talking about there?
I think you were saying that about the handball that it's just
Aye,
it used to. It's not deliberate,
aye.
but it,
But
yeah,
a couple of years ago, or was it a couple of seasons ago? Every time a horn
you
ball gets
touch.
made in the
Uh,
box, it was a penalty for anything.
I
You know,
know.
they were getting penalties for absolutely anything, and all of a
Yep.
sudden now, like, you have to you have to have your leg hanging off before you get a penalty.
I know. As we've all seen at times. But right on to well, what was your goal of the weekend actually? I think I said mine.
I thought thingies, the Falkirk equaliser was a good one.
At Tate, yeah, the
Aye,
first one.
the one for the 1-1 goal.
Aye,
Aye,
not the second one. That was
I know the first one was good.
yeah. I thought that was a good finish as well. I thought it was really composed, and he kind of
Yeah.
just smashes it as well. But it was like a composed smash, if you get what I mean. Like it
Hmm.
was one of those ones that he was like, I'm aiming for an area and I'm putting my foot right through it. But
And do we do a result of the weekend? What was your result of the weekend? Do we do that one? Or is it too
uh,
early? Too early for that?
no, I think I'd say the result of the weekend. I'm going to give it a joint result for both Falkirk and Livingston, just getting off to that start coming up and both getting a point.
No getting beat.
Because I think sometimes when you come up, it's you just want to get that monkey off your back with a draw. Then the next thing you want to do is get your first win,
Hmm.
and you just then who knows.
Right.
But did you see the draws today?
I did, yeah.
Uh, we'll
I watched
take
it live.
let's take you through them. Then we'll start with Celtic. What do you think of Slovan Bratislava or Kairat Almaty? Yeah, see, I'm
Okay,
working
well,
on
there
the.
you go.
Yep.
I don't know much about Cadet Almaty, I'll be honest, but obviously
Oh,
we
it's
played
a
Slovan
horrible
Bratislava
travel.
last season.
Yeah,
Out of the two
beat
of
them
them, I'd probably
5-1.
prefer Bratislava, if I'm being
You
honest.
probably prefer them because you played them last year, beat them 5-1. Although it
Not
was a
just that,
one-off match,
air miles
but
as well.
I don't think you want to be going to
No, Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, isn't it? Yeah,
Yep.
horrible. I mean, horrible journey. But I don't know much about Kairat Almaty. I think I've seen them in qualifying now and again over the years. Be
I think
honest,
I've
and
ever
most
heard of
times
them.
just putting on a wee bet, like try to choose a wee coupon. Sometimes you put random teams on, and I know they're okay. And I think they are top of their league ahead of. Do you remember that team? You just played them for Astana.
Aye,
Yeah, they're about 4 or 5 points ahead of them in the league. So
right.
I think they're about halfway through their season. So well, I think it was about 18
Oh,
games.
they always are, aren't they? Every team you get in the
So
Champions League qualifiers is already halfway through their season.
oh, Hearts just hit the post. Sorry about that. But
Sorry.
yeah, I think it's a. I don't want to say it's a favourable draw because at this level nothing's easy.
Mhm.
But I think it was probably out of the teams you probably wouldn't have wanted Basel and Karabag were the two that I was thinking, oh, you don't want them. But
Well, I was
the other
glad we
ones,
missed Scoot and Carabag because we've
quite
played them
happy.
before, and that's a horrible trip, that one.
Horrible pitch as well. But by the way,
Aye.
Cara Almaty are a plastic pitch.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
That's
I'm
even
pretty
even
sure.
more so. I don't want them to beat Bratislava
I'm
then. I want
fairly
Bratislava
sure.
through.
I'm fairly sure Rangers nearly got them in a draw, like one of those ones that was like them or somebody. And I remember watching one of the games going, oh, I don't want to play them, don't want to play them. And they ended up
Mhm.
going out on penalties to somebody, and we got the other team, and I was like, good. But on to Rangers. What did you think of Rangers or Pilsen against Club Brugge or Red Bull Salzburg?
That's a tough one, isn't it?
I think it's tough, right? But I think it's easier than the Benfica or Nice. I mean, if you were honest, right, and you were saying one side of the draw has Benfica, Nice, Feyenoord, and Fenerbahce, and then the other side of the draw
No,
has.
you can beat Fenerbahce.
But
You beat them last season.
I know, but I think they've just signed that John Duran, who was at Aston Villa, so he'll be a good
Oh,
striker.
aye. He's a good player.
And and then I think if you look at the other side, you've got Rangers, Pilsen, who are a decent team. Red Bull Salzburg aren't what they used to be. Like they're
Hmm.
not what they were 4 years ago. They're kind of in transition, trying to rebuild new young players.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Club Brugge are the best team of the four. And having watched them a couple of weeks ago in a friendly, and having watched them last season against your team, they are the strongest team there. But you never know. You just never
Hmm.
know. If Salzburg beat them and Rangers are to go through, then
So do you
put it.
think if Rangers get through, then if they get bruised, do you think it's going to be really tough for them to get through then?
think it'll be tough, but see, in a lot of ways, I don't know that other than financially, I want to get through.
You
Financially, I
don't
want Rangers to
you
get
don't
40
want them to
million.
get through.
Not really, because if Motherwell Panathinaikos can get 54 shots against you in 3 games, what do PSG, what do Liverpool, what do Real Madrid, Barcelona? We're not ready.
I
To
mean,
be honest, I'm not.
I'm nodding right, but we were in the Champions League last year, and obviously we get
It's
people
about
say we
getting
get a
your
favourable
to
draw,
draw.
but
Yeah.
you can
But
only play
that's
what's
the
in front
same
of you.
though. I looked at some of the teams who were going in that Champions path, and obviously I seen Celtic's side, and then I was like, I mean, a few teams there, you think, well, you could beat Red Star, you could beat like Copenhagen or Malmo. You're like,
Yeah.
so I started to think, oh, maybe if you're there, you can pick up a couple of wins. But I think one more season in the Europa League might just be what Rangers need, and then we push on to become a Champions League team. But I think you have
Need
to
to win the
take
league
steps.
first.
I know I get that, but you also have to be ready to get there,
Hmm. Hmm.
and we're not ready. No, and I just mean under the fact that it's a new manager has been in 6 weeks. I don't think
I
this is
know.
the year to qualify.
Yeah.
I mean, a Rangers team that got to a UEFA Cup final, a Europa League final, sorry, got into the Champions League and
It's the
got
same
absolutely smashed.
competition. You said UEFA Cup, Europa League. It's the
I
same
know,
exact competition. Be a
but
different name.
we got absolutely smashed under a team that was quite settled under Van Bronckhorst. So this
Mm.
team wouldn't even be as good as that team. So
No.
no, I'd be a bit worried about that, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be going mental if we get through. So on to the other ones. I think we've got Aberdeen against Steaua Bucharest or FG Brita, which I didn't know was a football team, but we played Steaua Bucharest last year.
Hmm.
They're okay, but they're not great.
No,
Um,
out of the two of them, I'd say that Steaua Bucharest would probably be the harder draw for Aberdeen.
but
I'm saying
Aberdeen
that.
have
I'm
got
saying that without any knowledge of the other team. To be honest, I don't
but
know. I've
Aberdeen
not
have
really
got the
heard of them.
great fallback of knowing that if they lose that tie, they're in the Conference League group stages anyway.
Hmm.
So it's a kind of free hit. But
I
again,
suppose they're getting European football anyway, no matter what happens.
Like Aberdeen,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the worst result to lose because if you imagine Aberdeen going up against like a Roma or a Lazio or some of the strong Aston Villa, that would
They'll
scare
get.
you. But then
It's a
if you
potential
imagine
hammering,
them
isn't it?
imagine in the Conference League, I think they can hold their own and pick up
Hmm.
2 or 3 wins because the standards obviously that wee bit less than Europa.
Yeah.
The other two draws, I think you've got Hibs or Partizan would play Larnaca or Legia Warsaw. Tough.
Again, Larnaca. Where are they from? I've never heard of them.
Cyprus.
Cyprus,
Cyprus.
right?
Yep.
And obviously
And
Legia also.
yeah, I mean, I think Hibs can
On
beat
paper, Legia
Partizan.
Warsaw would be the tougher one.
Yeah.
I would say the
I
two.
think Hibs can beat Partizan, but I don't see them beating Warsaw. I mean, Warsaw got to the semi-finals last year of the Conference League
Hmm.
and got beat
But
by Chelsea. So no,
But we say
um,
this all the time about these teams that we've never heard of. We say this all the time about them. We're thinking we should beat them, but
I
you don't
know.
know nothing about them, and they turn out to
No,
be
I,
can turn out to be all
you
right.
never know. I mean, but I just think on paper, I think Hibs' route's tough, and Dundee United obviously need to play Rapid Vienna, is
Mhm.
it? And then they would play AIK of Sweden. Um, on paper, their route doesn't look as bad if they can get through Rapid,
Mhm.
but as you know, you always sign wingers from Rapid Vienna, so or you always get linked with them anyway.
We've
Well,
only
you might
one.
be,
We've only signed one.
I mean, you tried to get that other one in the summer, didn't you? And then you
Aye,
went to
is
Nice,
it
and
was it
then
was
you
his
just,
name Isaacson or something?
and then you tried to find Tilio there. So
Mhm.
could come up against Dundee United, so you never know.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think on paper it's good knowing that you've got 3 teams in the group stages, and but once they get to the group stages, they really need to do well, especially Aberdeen. I'm not even going to mention Rangers because Rangers do well in the Europa League.
But we're needing
Um,
other teams to start doing a
we
bit in
need
Europe as well.
Aberdeen, and we really could do with this year's a bit tough for Hibs,
For
I
the
think, but
coefficient.
I think next year we could even do with having 2 teams in the Conference League,
Mhm.
like having Hearts and Aberdeen or Hibs and Hearts. Do you know what I mean?
Because
But
I know that,
yeah,
I mean, no disrespect to the likes of St Mirren, but see if St Mirren had get into the Europe now, maybe they thought if they'd have beat us in the last game of the season, there was a chance they could get in to
I,
uh,
Conference.
the conference. That obviously, I think if that had happened, they'd probably get popped out and embarrassed in the qualifiers because,
I'm not sure they're any worse than Dundee United, though.
well, maybe no, but he just
But
sometimes a Scottish team can get into Europe and just get pure hammered.
oh no, they have. I mean, Kilmarnock, Motherwell in recent years getting beat off, you know, British teams, which hasn't been good enough. But you know what? I think we just need right now, as we're in August, we've still got 5 teams in Europe. Let's just get behind them, see how it goes.
Huh?
Well, 3 of them are in Europe this week. How do you see those games going? First legs, obviously. I'll go in reverse order here because the Thursday night games, Dundee United and Hibs are both away first, which I think could be really tough. I think it's about staying in the tie for them.
Aye,
Hibs
as
against
long as
Hearts,
as long as they don't get beat, I think if they can
yeah.
remain as in a draw or a 1-0 or something
Aye,
like that,
lose by the
then
odd goal. Aye.
as long as they remain in the tie, coming into the second leg, they've got a chance.
And then Rangers against Pilsen, obviously at Ibrox first on the back of Russell Martin's rant.
Don't know how good this Pilsen will be. So hopefully they'll
I
be good,
don't
but
think
you
they're
just never know.
I don't think they're any worse or any better than Slavia or Sparta Prague. I think they're all,
Mm,
as you say, a much of a muchness. There's not much between them. What I would say is they're a bit more physical, a bit more British style.
mm.
They like a long ball. They are quite fast, but they're not the sort of team that will play through you. So that might actually help us. I think Rangers will eke out a win tomorrow, and then I'm always quite confident with Rangers away from
Well, it's
home.
at Ibrox, so you never know.
Yeah.
There's always a chance.
I think if we can take any lead, 2-1, whatever,
Mhm.
to Czech Republic, I'd be quite confident the Rangers could find a way to get a draw away from home. We're always quite decent at that. And I think we want to beat Pilsen because if for nothing else, you get another few million. And then you've got that playoff tie. And, you're sitting here going, oh, Club Bruges. But what if it's no Club Bruges? What if it's Salzburg? And I'm sorry, but I don't think Rangers should be looking like any Austrian team and saying, "Oh, we can't beat them." We should be in a better position to know how they're doing. But I think Rangers signed Ant-Man today, so obviously we
They did.
realise that if we can't beat Motherwell, we should just build some Avengers. So
Now they sign Ant-Man and Spider-Man's in the tin, getting
I know
filmed.
exactly. And as I said, it's written in the stars for that boy to score against Alaba in 2 weeks because they're called the Wasps. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just meant to be in it.
Yeah.
You just know that everyone at the Daily Record and the Sun are sitting there going, "Come on, get a goal, so we can get this headline." But yeah, I think he looks quite a good player. 16 assists in the Eredivisie last season. Yeah, I'm quite excited to see Rangers have a right winger who can actually assist goals.
I just
Because
hope Celtic can get some signings in this week.
have you been linked to anyone today? Have you seen much?
No,
I know
not
it's,
seen
it's
him.
Pusey signed. I seen him at the game. He was at the
Pusey was at the
game.
game. Pusey was
Uh,
sitting next to Jota at the game. I saw that.
is he signed? Like, is it official?
Well,
I just went
according
to
to Brendan Rodgers, I think it'll get announced tomorrow because today was
uh,
technically a bank holiday, so the stock exchange type thing. So they'll probably announce it tomorrow.
don't stop Rangers announcing signs, but I think we had to because we wanted to register him in a European squad for
I
tomorrow.
you obviously it's different for you because you've
Uh,
got the qualifiers in now.
we
We've
had
not
to
got one
we
for a
had to
couple of weeks
get
yet.
him and that young Mikey Moore added to the squad for tomorrow night. I mean, I don't think they'll play, but you expect them to play maybe the second leg.
Aye.
To be honest with you, I would like both of them to be at least on the bench tomorrow because Ant Man has had a full pre-season with Go Ahead Eagles, so he should be ready to go. And I hate all this nonsense. Oh, he doesn't know his teammates. He'll find out.
Well, that's
They're
what's
the
annoying
ones.
me about the Pusey
They're the
signing.
ones in the
It'll
same.
take a
They're the
couple of
ones
weeks
in
for
the
him to
same
get up to
shirt as you.
speed. That's what annoys me about the Pusey
I
signing because
know.
it's going to take him a few weeks to get up to
I
speed.
know,
But
but it's such a nonsense that though. I remember Clement used to say, "Oh, he needs 2 weeks to." No, no, he doesn't. See his teammates. They're the guys in the same jersey as you. Go and
Mhm.
find them. Cross it to them.
Aye, they wear the same colour jersey as you. It's not
Yeah.
difficult.
But no, I'm looking forward to this week, and we'll see again how Rangers, Hibs, and Dundee United do, and we can obviously, as I said, preview the next weekend's games. But I think there's a couple of good games. I know Rangers are home to Dundee on the Saturday night.
Hmm.
User away to Aberdeen. on the Sunday, if I'm right. I'll need to
That's
have a wee
right.
look
12 o'clock kickoff. You've got, is it a 5:15 kickoff on the Saturday night?
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Quarter to six, something like that.
Well, I think it's 5:45 against
Aye, quarter to six.
Dundee.
Right.
It's actually quite good though, because I'm meant to be taking the kids to the M&Ds, so day full of fun, and then they can go in their bedroom and watch some sort of guff on YouTube, and I'll take over the TV. That's
Fair
the
dues.
plan. But aye, well, I'll speak to you obviously on Friday for
Friday. Yeah.
episode 3.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thanks
Thanks
again.
very much.
Catch you
Right.
later.
Right. Bye bye.